Hello everyone, this is Avi Harkishin with AA Charts. This here is our weekly analysis. Today is December 28th, 2025. The analysis that we're doing today is for going into the week of Monday, December 29th. Merry Christmas to everyone, or Merry belated Christmas to everyone, and Happy New Year in advance. Okay, let's get down to the analysis. So let's start with the indexes, the ETFs. So let's start with VIX. VIX is currently trading. We broke what I call the last point of support, which was 1460 to 1412. And we are heading into the next support level, which is at 1270. So our bearish target that we've had for VIX is 1318. So we still have room for more downside. So currently we have retested the previous support, and it seems like we are breaking to the downside here. So the level that I would be watching for VIX next is 1318 to 1270. Want to see a bounce at 1270 around this area. We failed to bounce this area, and if we cannot reclaim it, the VIX is going to keep dropping further. Hold this level, you can see a bounce back to 1485, and VIX versus the overall market. If you guys know, whenever there's an inverse correlation and inverse relationships, if VIX is moving to the upside, the market is expected to move to the downside, and vice versa. If VIX is moving to the downside, the market is expected to move to the upside. So inverse relationship there. Key level watching here for resistance is this 1485 level, which we broke right over here. And we're looking at this support level at the bottom here. So let's just remove the bearish target for now. Just remove that. If you're curious how I got that bearish target, I think I got it through, was it here? Yeah. So I just took my fib retracement to the swing low here, to the swing high, and it's the 1.618 retracement, which was the target. We break below that target over there, and we have 1270. So that's the levels, key levels we're looking at for tomorrow. Let's look at SPY going into tomorrow. The previous trading day, we closed right at the supply zone right over here in a doji. Not much of an increased volume. We were still bullish for SPY on the macro. If we're looking at the overall trend using the EMAs, the red is the 9, the blue is the 21, the gold color is the 50, and you have the green color, which is at the bottom somewhere over here. That's the 200 EMA. So we're looking at the daily chart right now. Trend is still to the upside, bullish to the upside. We closed right on the supply zone with the doji. Not much of a volume, but we are seeing decreasing volume as we're moving up. So something to note. So it's very much possible that we could see a pullback here. So going into tomorrow, we're really watching what VIX is going to do at that 1270 level, and what the market, what SPY is going to do at this supply zone here, which is 691.57 to 690, 689.70 area. If you start rejecting this 689 area, I expect some sort of pullback. Let's take a look at some sort of pullback to this 685 level here, which is this key support, key retest level. So going into tomorrow, I'm expecting, if you cannot hold 689 level going into tomorrow, I'm expecting some sort of pullback, but you would have to break these 4 hours EMA. So the trend is still to pay attention to these EMAs, especially the 9 EMA. The trend is still to the upside. If you are breaking the 9 EMA to the downside on the 4 hour, then I expect some sort of retest to this 485 level going into tomorrow. So just pay attention to that. But as long as you're holding that 689 level, be careful shorting SPY. Let's look at QQQ for a moment. On the daily for QQQ, we're just gonna remove. Let's remove this here. On the daily for QQQ, you do have a symmetrical triangle going into tomorrow or this week. You're at the top of the trend line on the symmetrical triangle. You're at a supply zone. You see sell off here, here. You saw it here, and you're right at that level again. So key resistance level you're looking at for tomorrow on QQQ is 628 is the major key resistance level going into tomorrow. And then you do have this trend line here from the symmetrical triangle running right across. So you want to pay attention to what happens within this range right over here going into tomorrow. This is key level going into tomorrow. What happens within 623 to 628? Quite a wide couple dollar range you have there, especially if you're scalp trading 0 DTEs or so. So that's the major level I'm looking at for tomorrow. Any pullback, the retest, I want to see a retest of this level 214 to 212, and that would be correcting. So we've already corrected this level here, which we came down to the 618, corrected this move to the upside. So if we're going to correct this move here, you're going to do the same thing from top, and you got the 61516 0.5 to 6.618 coming back down to this level here if you're correcting this level. So just pay attention. If you're correcting, you're gonna correct over here, which is this move here. You've already corrected this move. Now you just have to correct this move if you get rejected, and that's when you're gonna get your breakout to the upside once this completed. I still think overall the ETFs, the indexes, are looking at wants to push more to the upside. One thing here is that you do have a little bit of increased volume on the previous session close on QQQ. So major area to look at here. Let's take a look at IWM for a moment. For IWM, you are looking at a key area over here. Let me just remove this for a second. And this key area that we have here, you're in this supply zone. You broke above, came back, and now you're just sitting within that key area that you're consolidating in right now. Still, you're seeing that rejection. There is still no confirmation that this is going to move to the upside. So there is a case for bull case and bear case going into tomorrow. The key level that you want to pay attention to going into tomorrow for IWM is that 252.77 resistance level and that 250.30 resistance level is that area over here. You want to see what price does within this area. You start failing to hold this 250.30 or $250 level, and you can start breaking to the downside, and that's the bearish ABC retracement that I see happening. You want to keep moving to the upside. You want to hold at 252.77. Let's look at the 4 hour. On the 4 hour, you can see that kind of bear flag pattern forming on the 4 hour. When you turn on your EMAs here, you can see you're kind of, the 9 is starting to curve below the 21, and you're kind of starting to break down with a bear flag, and you're rejecting that EMA. Now, if this, well, every pattern needs to follow through. If it does not follow through, you're gonna bounce off of here, and you can see a bear, what do you call that again? Bear trap. I don't know why I just had a brain freeze. You see a bear brain freeze again. I'm not sure why I'm tired. It's about 11:28 p.m. here. Yeah, you have a bear trap. You bounce off of this 250 something, and you could push to the upside. You want to see a break of this level right over here, which is that 250 level and rejection for a bear case to play out. And that bear case is that ABC. And where I got this target from is that you take your fib retracement tool and you start from the top here. And you know what? Let me just do that for you guys. Start from the top, swing high, swing low, and over here. And the target is that 241, which is right at that daily gap, the daily fair value gap that you see over here. So you have two daily fair value gap. We're targeting the first one, which is the the retracement 1 right over here. That's the bear case scenario. You still have the 200 EMA and so forth. You would have to break this 246 to come down farther. You start breaking 246 and you can see that bear case play out. So just pay attention again to the key levels that you're going into tomorrow. I paid a bit more attention here to the ETFs because most of the times in Discord we're trading the ETFs. Lots of opportunities trading ETFs within the Discord. So that's what I would be looking for bear case. Bull case, I want to see this level hold over here and break to the upside. GDX, which is the gold miners, still think we're tracking for more upside on GDX, which are the gold miners for those of you that are tracking gold. Not a place to go chase gold right now, but still think there is a bit more upside. Let's look at some individual stocks at the moment. All right, let's take a look at Apple. I'm still bullish in Apple. Apple was in a uptrend, rising wedge, broke down. And as you can see, you had the volume. Look at the buying volume at the bottom here. You had the same thing here. And now you're seeing the same thing here again. So our target, the target that we've had in Discord was long entry right over here into this retest. We've had that retest in an ABC as we broke down in ABC. We had volume pump over here and that volume start dropping off. So I want to see a carry through on Apple holding 270, 269.95, 270. If Apple could hold this level, I think you'll see more upside on Apple. And the target I will have there for Apple on the upside would be about moving to the upside. We have about a $300 target or so on Apple because you still have, if you're going to take your retracement tool right here, we're looking at that. There you go. 302, that's 618 level. And you're going to have that curve at the bottom here, that rounding bottom, and a breakout to the upside. That's what I'm looking at for Apple. So as long as you're holding this 269 area and you don't fail 269 or so, I think you're in good shape and Apple will continue to break to the upside. Take a look at AMD. Not much really to see on AMD. Same thing here. Still think you could farm a WXY to the downside. Key level you're looking at for AMD is that 227 level over here. If you're trading AMD, this is your major key supply zone that you want to see break, and your next one is 244. So you have quite a few of supply zones over here. Bull case for AMD is you do not play this WXY pattern and you continue to break to the upside, which is this 1, 2, 3 pattern, 4, 5 wave pattern, and create a new high right over here at 270 something. That would be your bull case scenario. So if you're long AMD here, stay long. It's fine. You start breaking this low, then I'll be concerned that you're probably going farther down. The other case that we have here is if you fail over here, then you can see a 1, 2, 3, 4, and you'll see a 5 wave move to the downside, and this is going to be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like you'll come down somewhere around this 185 to 170 anyways, and then probably move back up. So nothing really much to speak about AMD. Let's take a look at maybe Google. So on Google, we still have, we did a retest on Google here. So I still think Google have a bit more upside to go. You're still holding those EMAs, and I still think you'll see some upside more to go on Google. And our target here in Google is somewhere around this 343 area, somewhere around this level here. Let me pull that up. So this is the other Google chart. The target that we have here is 359. What you don't want to see in Google is a false breakout that break to the upside here and gets rejected and back down. That's not what you want to see. The volume looks pretty decent. You're getting less selling volume at the top here. Pretty good volume moving to the upside. So you want to see a follow through again. Every pattern is good, but you want to see that follow through where you're breaking That's 322. What you don't want to see again is that false breakout. You come up here, you push, and you break to the downside. That's not what you want to see. You want to see a follow through on Google. The setup looks pretty decent, however, but need that follow through to take place. Let's look at another one. Okay, here's Meta. Not much to talk about Meta. There's just 3 different scenarios for Meta. You start breaking, but there's 2 bull case scenario for Meta is that you could keep moving to the upside here to 704. You could break slightly to the downside, correcting this move over here to that 618 right over here, and you continue to move to the upside. The bear case scenario for Meta is a correction of this move here, which come back down to that 618. That would be my preferred move, unless the indexes are going to move up a little bit more, and Meta will move up a bit more, and you have a WXY forming, which will correct from the top here, and you move up over here, and you break farther to the downside. So a couple different scenarios here for Meta. Key levels that you're looking here for Meta is this 659 level. You want to see the price hold that level. If not, you're going to break down slightly over here, or you come down further. Not much of a trade here I'm looking at for Meta. Let's look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA, still think NVIDIA can move a little bit more to the upside. Pretty good volume. Still think you could break towards that 602 area over here if you're going to get another reject. Rejection up here. So still think NVIDIA could move somewhere. Key level you're looking at here is 195 to 202. Key resistance level again, 195 to 202 for those of you that are day trading NVIDIA. For Tesla, and then you have that 184, which has been a key level, keeps flipping, a pivot level, keeps flipping between resistance and support. Now it's acting as support. So if you break to the downside, you want to see a retest, you start breaking, you start slicing through 184, you're going to come back down to 173 again. So you want to stay above that 184, and you want to start breaking this level if you want to move to the upside for NVIDIA. If not, and you come down here, you're going to see that rejection somewhere around that 618, the 0.786 area. Come back and probably correct this. If it's bullish, you're going to come back and correct this move over here, which is around that 184, to make it into support again. So that's the key level for NVIDIA. For Tesla, one of the things that we're looking at here is we're seeing this this kind of distribution top forming over here. I do have a retest of 458. 458, which you can see us Tesla coming back down to. On a bull case scenario, Tesla will come back, touch this level, retest, and continue to break to the upside. Bear case scenario is that an ABC is played out. You break to this level here, come back, and retest probably around this area over here, and continue further down towards that 438 level. The pattern that we're looking at here for Tesla, it's in that kind of rising wedge. Let me move to the other chart so I can show you what that looks like. Okay, here you are. So this is a chart we're looking at. We're in a major supply zone over here. You're currently rejecting, which looks like a distribution pattern, as volume is starting to increase a little bit, not too much, but you're starting to see, as you're moving to the upside, you're starting to see a little bit of bearish divergence forming on MACD and bearish divergence forming on RSI. So just want you to be cautious of these things here. Not a place you want to start jumping into calls or anything, because you can still see a retest of this 458, 460 level. Key level here for Tesla. Also, when you're looking at the gamma exposure for Tesla, you have a big magnet over here, which is 500. What does that really mean? On a when you're going to add that to the chart, how you translate that information or data is that this over here will act as a wall or a resistance level in Tesla. And unless you get above this $500, you're going to get rejected again. Currently, Tesla's at 470 something, which is right around here. So you start losing 477, and you're going to start coming back down to 470 and so forth. and you start breaking this 465, you're going to start flipping to the downside, and you have big pull here to 450 or so. So yeah, these are the gamma levels that you want to look at for Tesla. So yeah, not a big fan really of Tesla right now. We could retest that 458 and continue to the upside. If not, you're going to continue to push to the downside here and retest this 438, 435 level that I have on the other chart. Something like this, which is still, so just be careful with Tesla is showing some sort of distribution pattern like it is over here. You're chopping on top with some extra increased volume here, elevated volume. I think that's it for today. Let me see. Netflix is kind of interesting here in the daily. You're still getting rejected off the 9 EMA. So you can still see a move up on Netflix, and I haven't taken a position yet on Netflix. I'm still watching. I'm still waiting to see what's going to happen on Netflix. So still being cautious on Netflix. MSTR, still think you could see you kind of break this key level here. So still think you could see a bit more downside. It really depends on what Bitcoin and so forth is going to do. Still think you can see a bit more upside here on AVGO, Broadcom, and maybe I want to see some sort of rejection to retest this level over here. All right, I think that's it for today. That's all I'm going to go over for today. Mostly focus on the ETFs because that's a lot of the times those are the tickers that I trade. In terms of opportunities, I'm looking at Tesla this week for any short opportunity if we start breaking 458 level. If we come down and find support of 458, you could have like a quick scalp or something to the upside, but I'm just watching to see the key levels how we're holding. For NVIDIA as well, looking to see what's happening within this level here for NVIDIA. All right, guys, that's it. Have a wonderful trading day and trading week ahead. Take care. Bye.